Culture.
Hello. Just now, Tira tell us about difference between the major and the minor ones. Are you clear with that?
Yeah, teacher.
Okay.
I'm clear.
You can talk about it because now we are discussing. Continue now or just wait for a few more friends? Just a few more friends.
Just 6 people.
Oh, the presenter. Yes, please.
For the first link, I did not see you record video, right?
Did not what? Did not see what?
I did not see you record video.
Oh, I didn't.
Or not?
I didn't. I was much time waiting for you. And it's too short.
So because of me, right?
Probably we will administer the test at the end of our session, okay? The test, quiz 2. Do you remember, Venerable?
Sorry, teacher again.
We will have quiz 2 today.
Yes.
Yes, at the end of the session, yes, at the end. And this
how many minutes?
Mr. Tira, right?
Around 10 minutes. Not
the
about
quiz about this chapter, right?
Quiz 2 is like in the Schoology, you can see it, and the title is there.
Quiz about designing tests like MCQ.
Yeah, you're right.
You post it already in Google Classroom?
Yeah, post already.
Oh my goodness. My mistake. I will check.
You know, check.
What we will test.
Okay, tak sedang kena you na. Share the screen now. Here. Here, Mr. Tira just clarify with us about the difference between the major and the minor reading skills. So, to sum up, what he means is the major, meaning that they read for the detail. You mean like that, right, Tira? Is it right, Tira? What you mean?
Yes.
Okay. Well, minor.
We're just looking for some specific idea, such as the component rather than the meaning.
If you say for specific ideas or the component here is not detailed.
Yes, it's not detailed yet. For example, in this picture, if you use the minor skill, you see only it have sentence, words, or complex thought. But if we see the picture in the meaning, we can say the sentence with the biggest letter. It means that the sentence are formed from words, complete short with a complete short, something like that. This is called, we use reading as a major skill.
Okay. I think, Tiran, can you give us an example if you want to design reading text? So, if your text focusing on major reading skill, how do you design the text? If your text is focused on minor reading skill, how do you design the text?
For the minor reading skill, we design the text in for major, right, teacher?
Yeah.
Major reading skill. For major reading skill, we use the text and ask the question with a comprehensive question. And the question should be focused on the detail rather than the topic or the we call it specific idea in some part of the text.
Okay, I want to clarify then. The major mean big, minors mean small. So big mean generals, big mean main ideas. Okay. So what it means is what it means is when you make a test that focus on the major reading skills, it's a kind of advanced level, this one, meaning that read beyond the lines. Meaning that when they read, they have to read. Example, if you read one paragraph, meaning when they read the whole paragraph, they can get the main idea what is the whole paragraph about. This is called major reading skills, meaning that you test skill in the higher levels. Means when you read the passage, you focus much on main ideas. And here you also read the text here, you also want to analyze whether the kind of the reading here, the writer try to ask you about something, or you understand the purpose of the paragraph. Okay, example, you read one paragraph and then they ask you what is the purpose of the paragraph. What do you think the writer asks you about? Okay, what is the opinion from the writer in this paragraph? So it doesn't mean that you read one line and then you can find the answer in one line. Okay, you just like look as a reading skill, as look at the paragraphs as a whole, and you look like this one overall as a whole, and you understand what the passage here is all about. Okay, similar to skimming. Similar to skimming. Yeah, we focus much on skimming. Skim here to get the main idea. Okay, overall picture, main ideas. Now I give you an example of the readings. When you test them like this in order to test them how they understand deeply from the whole picture of the paragraph. Have you ever seen in the test that they ask you, when you read the passage, they ask you one question: what is the purpose of the passage? So you cannot catch up the purpose because they did not explain any detail somewhere in the passage. As long as you read from the beginning to the end, and then you synthesize the ideas, and you can what we call retrieve the information or imply by using your critical thinking skills. And as a general, you can form the main idea of the text so that you can answer the question. This is in a higher level test. Clear enough here? Usually this question always asks you to read the whole paragraph or the whole passage to answer. Clear? Hello, clear now? The next one. How about minor reading skills? The opposite one. That means small means details. Detail means you did not read the whole paragraph or the whole passage to understand, to get the main idea, to answer the question, anything. But here you can look in small detail in what we call syntax, just vocabulary or cohesive markers. So now I want what to make short mean inter-sentence levels, meaning that you read sentence by sentence, line by line to get the answer for the question. This is called on the line questions. You know on the line question? On the line question, when they ask you example, when was Angkor Wat built? So this one, you don't need to read the whole paragraph or the whole essay to answer. This one can read a few lines that the date or when Angkor Wat was is there, and get it from that one. So this one is similar to scanning, meaning reading for detail to get the answer for the questions. Okay, so it or sometimes the test designer might ask you the meaning of some words inside the paragraph. Example, you might experiencing reading text that asks you, what is the word globalization in one mean? Have you ever seen like that? Cohesive markers, it's just like linkers example, or like however, so can help you to identify what they mean. So this one study in detail, analyze vocabularies, analyze the syntax, sentence structures in a small scope or details. Sometimes you analyze even the reference, sentence labels, is called markers. A reference here refer to what? This, that, something like that. Example, Mr. Brown always come to class late. I don't like this. So, example. So it is a short text like this, and then the text designer might ask you, so this here, that the speaker say like this, what does this here refer to? Refer to what? Coming late of Mr. Brown, or refer to Mr. Brown, or refer to classroom? Okay? Everyone clear now? Hello?
Yes.
Okay, clear. So again, reading for details, or study the detail, or answering some part or some details of the reading text. So this one, you don't need to read the whole to get the answer. Just read for some part, the detail of some part you can answer here. And if you talk about the graph, you don't need to understand the whole picture of the graph, but you just find the interpretation in section point, like we don't have a graph here, like what here, like we have a graph. We have a graph like the what? I don't have something to write here. Sharing the whiteboard, I think. Wait. Sharing the whiteboard. Whiteboard, where's the whiteboard? Stop sharing first. Oh, this one. Sharing the whiteboard. No whiteboard. Wait a minute. Sharing the whiteboard. Whiteboard, okay. Okay now. Oh. Okay. Okay, now you understand what it is?
Graphs.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, it doesn't look nice, but it's okay. You try to understand like that. Okay, here. So for the general one, you have to look at the whole picture, the graph, to identify what the graph means. So it means that the business here is going from the overall picture from the beginning of the selling product until this month, for example, the last month here, tend to be increasing or stable or whatever here. So here you look at the picture as a whole. If you read it for main idea, but if you read it for details, you just find, they might ask you, example, in this year. Example, this part is 2000 example. So they might ask you, so in this year, year 2000, how much did they sell the product? Okay, example, they sell it. Okay, 3,000 products have been sold, something like that. Okay. So when when you look at the detail, they might ask you with the specific intersection like this, intersection, but not the overall. That is called specific. They might ask you with specific date, specific years, specific number. Okay, clear? Clear? So when you read the graph and then answer the minor reading skill test, they might ask you about specific information like that. So you just look at the graph again, see the specific in what year, 2000, how much that they have sold, 3,000. Okay, this is called minor reading skill test. Okay? Okay, question please.
Teacher,
Yes.
I hear you say minor reading skill. We also read for the detail, and minor reading skill also read for a specific part. So it is similar.
Similar to what? Similar.
I mean, both of it, it's similar. So how can we? I not yet understand about that.
Okay. How about expert? Can you clarify? Tira, please. Not similar. I did not explain in a similar way. Tira, please. Hello, Tira.
Sorry, teacher, I forgot to open the voice. I spoke alone. Even though it is similar, but minor skill, we use it to identify only the main idea, but in some part of the text, not the full text, right?
Yeah.
This is what I know from your explain earlier. This is the main idea in major skill, but it is in the full text for the whole text.
Yeah, that's right. One big, one small.
Oh, so you mean for manner we read for specific for the whole text, but for minor is we read also for specific part, right? In the small paragraph, something like that.
For example, in exam, I have made an exam that they highlight some sentences and they want us to read the highlight sentence and identify the main idea. This is kind of minor skill, right, teacher?
Yeah, that's right.
Teacher, I heard she said as minor and minor. It's major and minor, right?
I confused.
Okay, now go on. Sub-skills, grammar and vocabulary. Okay, now listen.
In reading skill, we also include grammar and vocabulary. Know that grammar and vocabulary more exist in the structure, vocabulary, and language in use from reading passage, but still it exists in this skill as two sub-skills in English language.
Okay, make it short. Tina, why do you think that? Why do you we regard grammar?
Teacher, sorry, teacher, I can't hear it clearly.
Why do you think that we regard grammar and vocabulary as sub-skills?
It is a sub-skill because there are only 4 main skills in English. And grammar and vocab they support those 4 skills. But in here, I just emphasize on grammar and vocabulary. In general, it exists in only in the structure that we call vocabulary or in language in use in our textbooks. But we also say that grammar and vocabulary are also learned through reading or in the text.
So when you test reading, can we also test grammar?
Yes, we can.
Okay.
In some part, we can test the grammar through grammar part, such as forming a present tense or forming a past tense. But in the reading text, we can also apply the grammar.
Example, in a reading text, that when you design to test grammar and vocabulary, can you give us an example of a grammar or vocabulary that you have heard or have seen before in a reading text? I mean, a kind of that they also test grammar and vocabulary inside the reading skill test.
Yes.
Can you give us example, please? Grammar.
For
example,
the grammar. Yes. For example, the grammar that test in the reading test, they give you a reading text, and it is wrote in mostly in present perfect because it is like a we call it narrative. So the question, it can be say that what kind of this passage. So the answer is it is narrative essay or it is narrative text.
Okay.
It is hard to explain. It even though it is a reading text, but it related to the grammar to find out the answer. And for example, in vocabulary, even those it is some kind of reading text, but the question can ask you about the vocabulary. What does this word mean in this text? For example, if they highlight a word for you to explain it.
Okay, clear, clear. Okay, usually, when you understand reading, as long as you also understand vocabulary. If you know vocabulary, you know all of the words in the reading, you can comprehend the reading itself. And if you know only the vocabulary, but you don't know grammar, you cannot comprehend the reading very well as well. So that's why usually when they test reading, they also test the understanding of vocabulary and the grammar as well. To find out the reader here can really understand vocabulary and the grammar, or they just guess the answer in the reading. Okay, because the two are also involved with the readings. That's why we can test them as a sub skills. Okay, clear now? Now, next point, please. Reading. Not here. Again.
We have learned so far about the nonlinear text, and now we may know what is it. In reading text, we include passage in non. So passage starting literature. Some of them follow the grammatical rule, and in nonlinear text, the type including table, graph, schedule, advertisement, and diagram. Most of them look like a picture that describes the meaning rather than using the full text that follow grammatical rule. In the first picture, it is a poem. Can you read it? It is perfection is the moment when I'm walking in the morning by the sun, while leaning against my skin, a aroma of coffee and you by my side. It is a sweet poem, right? And however, it followed the grammar, yes. And the second picture, it is the famous 5, it is some kind of short story, and like the short story follow it form and follow the grammatical rule. The many sentences are combined to create the story to tell you. And you see the third picture, Oliver Twist, already, right? We have learned so far, and we have finished it already. It is some kind of literature. It is a popular books. Yes, it is still popular. And the fourth picture, it is about Coca-Cola. You see, it is some kind of advertisement, even though it doesn't follow the grammatical rule, but you see, the word delicious, we still understand the meaning. The thing is delicious. It means like that. And Coca-Cola, it is the name of the brand, and relief fatigue. They want us to know that eating this will relieve our fatigue. It is the advertisement. And the last one is the 4 component of reading. You see, it doesn't write it in full word. It just draw it in a diagram and tell us what are the components of reading, rather than writing. The component of reading are alphabet, vocabulary, fluency, and comprehension. But doing this way, it is, yes, the best way to do that. Easy to understand, easy for looking, easy for memorizing.
Okay, clear? Everyone, any question? Hello, any question? No. Okay. So here, the reading text that you might use for testing the reading for your test takers or your students, you can decide what kind of reading text that you include in the test. So we have 2 kinds of reading text. What are they? Prose passages. Prose here refer to some kind of poem, short story, literature, book, literature text. Just like, any text besides non-linear text, we call prose passage. And the non-linear text, like what we mentioned earlier, we talk about table, graph, schedule, advertisement, and diagram, etc., picture, etc. So we have only 2 kinds of text that you can use for testing your students' reading comprehension. Sometimes you also, like what Mr. Thira mentioned, here you bring this one. Okay, and then it is a kind of linear or prose passage, this one here. Hello, this one, prose or non-linear text?
It is non-linear text.
Right. Okay, how about this one? This one. How about this one?
It's about prose passages.
Yes, correct. How about this one?
It's also prose passage.
Okay, this one. Prose. Prose. This one also, right?
Non-linear.
This one. This one.
Non-linear.
Okay, this one.
Prose passage.
Oh, non-linear passage.
Okay, right.
This is prose passage. It is kind of literature. Oliver, please.
When you read the text inside, it's in prose passage. But if you just show them the picture and then ask them to interpret what it is, okay? Next one.
Okay.
In
sorry. Almost out of time.
In this slide, I want to tell you about the reading test. Yeah, use many formats that we have made. we have experience, such as MCQs, true for no information, matching, and close with answer provided. It is the kind of reading test. In the picture you see in the first picture, it is about multiple choice that we have to color it black and right sentence that we think it is right. And the second one, it is about the close test. The close test, you see, sentence that was left blank at some part in order for you that need you to fill it. It is called the close. Yes, or you can call it. It is similar to we call gap filling. Yes.
Everyone clear now? Okay, then. So here we talk about the format, the popular formats that usually test designer use for testing reading. Usually in reading here, you might see that they ask you comprehension using MCQ test, true for unit test, or matching test, or close test. Like close test, like that. Okay, these are also the format that they also use for testing reading. Okay, that kind of testing here is kind of up or subjective. Objective or subjective, everyone?
Objective test.
You also can test reading by using subjective test by example. In your opinion, do you think that Oliver Twist is a good person? Explain your answer, something like that. Okay. Next one. Next part. Specification. Specification here refer to specification of designing a reading test. Okay.
You see the word right? Specifications. We have studied some of the specification in test development, right? And now we will know what specification emphasize on. In here, we will study about the content, the conditions, and the grading criteria that specifications emphasize on.
Okay, not clear. Okay, now go details. Content, okay, not content.
In the word content, the specification emphasize, it means that we specification on the material that has cover what we need or what we want from the test, the material or the lesson, and the requirement from student, what the test require the student to know. If the test is level intermediate, we have to ensure that the student reach the level in order to do the test. And the type of text, prose or non-linear that we have learned earlier, and the number of words. And the last one is acceptable topic and the treatment of vocabularies. The topic that is similar to the content that we have teach our student, and the treatment of vocabulary, such as using the deep meaning of vocabulary. Some student, it is hard to understand those words, so we have to consider about it. And the fourth one you see in the picture, the girl is shocked about the test. It is because she feel like, oh my God, I don't know what it is about. It is some kind of test that doesn't follow the 4 points. Yes. If you don't want the student express like that, then follow the 4 points.
Okay, clear, son? Okay, everyone clear? Now. Hello, clear now?
Sure, I'm not sure with the first one.
So here refer to when you design the reading text, you have to know what kind of reading text that is, what kind of reading text or passage or article should include in the reading in the right levels. Make it short. Example, if you take this group of kids, you have to look at their age and their levels. So if you choose the wrong text, and then you use what? Some kind of poems that the student here have no idea about, or you use a graph that they have never learned about and you ask them to read and choose the answer, maybe it's hard for them, it's not for their levels. So the type of text should be appropriate to the student's levels. And acceptable topic, meaning that usually kids here like what kind of topic that the kid like to do the test, that the kid have a lot of idea about, or the kid have the schemata or background knowledge about. And also you have to look at the vocabulary. The vocabulary here is just like fit the level of the kid or not. And the material to cover here, like what I said, in the test you test what you have taught. The content, the topic is similar to what you have taught, similar to content validity, this one, to make sure that your test has content validity. Okay, clear now?
Yes.
Okay, next one. Conditions. Okay, again.
In conditions, we specify on the structure and component part of every section for the test, every sub-skill test. You see, like in the picture, you see the ruler, it divides the MCQ into 3 parts. You see, from 1 to 10, 1 part, and 11 to 20, 1 part, and from 21 to the last to about maybe 30, it is another part, and from 31 to others. It is some kind of with specific on the structure and component part of the soft skills. And with specific on format or range of format, we mean the number of questions for each format. You see, from 1 to the last one, it have regular 5 options from A to E, A, B, C, D, E, yeah, 5 options. And in condition, we specific on the time provided, provide time for each section. So each section we give 1 minute for all sections, or if the second section is a little bit harder, you can provide the first section from 1 to 10. We give 1 minute for each question, and from 11 to 20, you can give 1 point or 1 and 30. 1 second and 30, 1 minute and 30 seconds, sorry. And the last one, if you think it is very, very hard to do, to make decision, you can give each one 2 minutes, something like that. This is called specific provided time for each section.
Okay, any questions, students? No question, right? No question being clear, right? Now go ahead then.
In the last point of our specification is grading criteria. You see, we specific on the indicate how the assessment instrument will be marked. Yeah, you see in the picture, it is the answer key that we will mark which one is the right answer, and we can give the mark on each question for the first question to the 10